Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales is the fifth installment in this Pirates of the Caribbean film franchise. And when it comes to this franchise, here's the way I break it down. The Curse of the Black Pearl, I thought, was an awesome movie. I loved the introduction of these characters. I especially loved Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, as most people did. It had a great story, a great adventure, great action, great writing, great visuals. It was just an awesome summer movie that everyone enjoyed. And because that movie was such a success financially and critically, as a result, sequels were made. And when it comes to these sequels, for me, they progressively got worse. Dead Man's Chest was pretty good. At World's End, decent. And then we got on Stranger Tides, which I thought wasn't really a good movie. At that point, I'm just like, alright, I think it's time for us to just put this franchise to rest. But naturally, Hollywood thought they could squeeze a little more money out of this franchise, so now we have Dead Men Tell No Tales. So naturally, when you're going on a fifth movie, and when the movies are just progressively getting worse, I was going into this movie expecting to just shred it apart. So the movie takes place around 5 years after the events of the fourth movie. We are introduced to Henry Turner, who is the son of Will and Elizabeth. He's currently working on a British Navy ship, and his goal is to find Jack Sparrow to help him find the Trident of Poseidon, because he believes the power of that trident can break his father Will's curse from the Flying Dutchman. Because as you know, Will is bound to the Dutchman forever. He can only step foot on land for one day every 10 years. And while he's working on this ship, it all of a sudden gets attacked by this crew of undead pirates led by Captain Salazar, played by Javier Bardem. And this was an element I was really looking forward to. I love Javier Bardem as an actor, especially when it comes to playing villains, because this guy knows how to play a great villain. So, you know, they make it onto the cruise ship. They kill just about everyone on that ship, with the exception of Henry, so Salazar can tell him to find Jack Sparrow and tell him that death is coming for him. And for me, when it came to Salazar as a character, I did think he was a good villain. He was menacing, he was evil. You could clearly understand his intentions, especially towards Jack Sparrow, which I'll touch on more in a minute. But if you remember from the trailer reaction I did for it not too long ago, the visual effects that I saw for it, they just weren't very good, and I thought maybe, just maybe, in time it's going to be touched up a little bit, and when you see the effects of these undead pirates and how they look, it is a little bit better, but you still look at them and you're just like, really, this is the best you can do? You can clearly tell that this is all just fake. I mean, the first few Pirates of the Caribbean movies, whether you loved them or didn't really love them, we can all agree they had great visual effects. So when you see these effects here and they're just not anything to really be proud of, you know, it just leaves you hoping the movie could have done a little bit better. Now we finally run into Jack Sparrow. He's still on the run from the Navy because, you know, he's still a pirate. He currently captains this rickety old pirate ship because, you know, the Black Pearl is still stuck in that bottle from the events of Stranger Tides. Now when it comes to Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, this is for me, this is his role, this is his baby, this is what most people in the world know Johnny Depp for. I mean, I do think Johnny Depp's a great actor all in all, but this right here, this is where you really see how great an actor he is, because he just so owns the role of Jack Sparrow. And when you saw him in Curse of the Black Pearl and the way he portrayed Jack Sparrow, he made him such an original, quirky, funny, likable character for everyone. But that being said, the traits that made Jack Sparrow a really memorable and special character, we've now seen that for 5 movies now, so when you see him, you know, acting the way he is and just being the way he is, it's not as fresh. Because, you know, he's Captain Jack Sparrow and he talks like this because he's weird and, you know, he's always drinking a lot of rum, so he sounds kind of drunk and he just wants to sail the seas forever. Savvy? At a point, you're just like, yeah, we know who you are as a character. I mean, is there anything new you can bring to us? And the movie doesn't really do that. Eventually, Henry does find Jack Sparrow. He's able to free him from prison, and here is where they agree to team up to find the Trident of Poseidon. And it's also here where they run into a woman named Karina Smith. She is someone who is really smart when it comes to knowledge of astronomy and all things like that, which has everyone in the Navy convinced she is a witch, so they're trying to execute her. Now, I did like her character in this movie, but what I didn't like, or what I thought was unnecessary, I should say, is the fact that they had to make it out like, you know, the Navy thinks she's a witch. Because really, this movie doesn't really touch on witchcraft all that much. I mean, granted, you see this one actual sea witch character for a few scenes, but she doesn't really do much in this movie. it kind of has you feeling like the movie just had to make her accused of witchcraft just so the Navy could have an excuse to come after her as well. So all three of these characters are just on the run from the Navy this whole time. And also in this movie, you can definitely see a clear romantic connection develop between Henry and Karina, but the way I see it, it's not that I didn't buy it. It's the fact that you could tell the movie is trying really, really hard to make them the new Will and Elizabeth. Because when these two characters are that similar to Will and Elizabeth, you can't help but feel that the movie's trying that hard to just bring that element back into it. Now the movie finally brings us to Captain Barbossa. It turns out since the last movie, he has commanded a huge fleet of pirates. He's now a highly respected pirate lord among the sea. But soon enough, he and his crew are now confronted by Captain Salazar and his crew. He kills most of his crew, and he tells him the same message. Tell Jack Sparrow that I'm coming for him. And here we do get the backstory of exactly what happened to Salazar and his crew. They were apparently a Navy ship themselves. They were hunting Jack Sparrow's ship when Jack Sparrow was a younger pirate, but Jack Sparrow, being the clever pirate that he is, was able to lure Salazar and his ship into the Devil's Triangle, which corrupted them and turned them into the undead zombie pirates that they are now. Now at this point, Barbossa feels somewhat obligated to go help Jack, so he's on his way to go find Jack as well. But it's not until Salazar and his crew have found Jack, Henry, and Karina. So Salazar uses his new undead powers to make these sort of undead sharks to go after them. And yeah, these things just don't look visually appealing either. And eventually, Henry, Jack, Karina, they're all able to make it to land. And it's here they discover that Salazar and his crew, they're not able to step on land. And when you discover that land is a weakness of these pirates, you sit there like, wait a minute. Wasn't Davy Jones and his crew, didn't they have the same exact weakness? Oh my gosh, are you borrowing that element too? Yep, apparently the movie is. So finally, Barbossa and his crew, they meet up with Jack, Henry, and Karina, and it's here we also discovered that the other reason Barbossa came to help is because you find out that Karina is in fact Barbossa's daughter. She doesn't know that she's his daughter, but Barbossa wants to keep her safe from Salazar and his crew because, you know, he's been away from her entire life. Maybe this is his chance to be a father to her finally. And then he whips out his voodoo sword of magic that he stole from Blackbeard in the last movie and uses it to return the Black Pearl to its normal size, so now they have a ship again. Which was kind of a disappointment. I thought maybe bringing the Black Pearl back to its original size was going to be kind of a big storyline in this movie because the ending of the last movie kind of implied that it might be. So when it's just a little magic sword that brings it back to normal size, I was kind of disappointed. I was hoping for a little bit more. So thanks to Karina's navigation and her knowledge of astronomy, they're able to find the island where the trident is supposedly hidden. The crew is then able to make it into the bottom of the ocean where the trident actually is, and now here is where a huge battle takes place between Salazar and his crew and the heroes. I will say, this fight was definitely entertaining for what it was, but I don't know, it just didn't feel as climatic as these battles should be. I mean, you look at the Curse of the Black Pearl, it has that huge, awesome fight between Jack, Will, Elizabeth, and Barbossa and the Black Pearl crew, and it feels very gratifying, very satisfying, it's entertaining, it's awesome, it's intense. Here you just feel the movie kind of needs to have this big climatic battle, but I don't know, I didn't really feel the intensity of it. Soon enough, Henry discovers that the only way to break the curses on the sea is to break the trident, so he and Karina then break the trident, which destroys all the curses on the seas. It also frees Salazar and his crew from their undead curse. So now Jack, Henry, Karina, and Barbossa, they start getting hauled up from the anchor to the Black Pearl, but Salazar, he's not done with Sparrow yet. He still wants to kill him. But here it's in this moment, Barbossa decides to do the honorable thing. He drops down from the anchor, kills Salazar, drags him down with them, and sacrifices himself so the other ones can get away. Which of course is a noble act, and you do feel good that Barbossa made that sacrifice, particularly for Karina. But at the same time, when, you know, he's been a character for all 5 movies, and now he's finally gone, I don't know, just, it didn't hit me as hard as it should have. I don't know, maybe it's possible I'm just an emotionless fuck, but I don't know. I thought I should have felt something, and I didn't really. And yeah, at this point, Karina and Henry, they've fallen in love with each other. They're now waiting on the island where Will comes back, sets foot on land, now free of the Dutchman. What's also cool is you do see Keira Knightley make a cameo appearance as Elizabeth. She and Will, they embrace, they reunite. So it's really cool that they brought her back in for this anyway, to really see Will officially reunite with his whole family. And now with the Black Pearl back to full size, Jack has his crew back, he has his ship back, he he has Jack the Monkey with him, who he still hates. And now he just goes to set off to sea to who knows where. So all in all, I will say Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales is an average movie. I still love Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, even though the character is just not as original as he once was. The new characters like Henry and Karina, they do a good job here. I do love that they included older characters like Will and Elizabeth. Captain Salazar was a good villain. I thought the story for the most part was pretty good. That being said, some of the humor they tried doing with the older movies, it doesn't really hit as well. The visuals in this movie definitely aren't the best. Some of the emotional moments don't hit me as hard. The movie is clearly trying to borrow elements from the older Pirates movies. In the end, although this movie definitely had its enjoyment and things to like about it, it does have its fair share of flaws as well, and in the end, it has me wondering, should another Pirates movie be made? And in my opinion, it doesn't need to be. In fact, I still don't even know if this movie really needed to be made. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you all next time.